Hi folks, in this video we're going to be changing the rear coil spring on a Vauxhall Corsa C. That's from 2000 to 2006. Keep watching. Right, well this Vauxhall's just failed its MOT, so we're going to be changing the rear coil spring, which is apparently broken. Now, this is the spring I've just bought. This cost about £12, and that's what it looks like. Apparently it's broken right on the very end coil here, so we've got to change this, and to do that we've got to get the rear wheel off and jack the car up, so let's go and do that now. Right, okay, first of all we'll crack the nuts before we actually jack the car up. And these are a 17mm socket, so that's what you're going to need to undo the wheel nuts. Right, now what we've basically got to do here is actually jack the car up by the body, because we're going to need to drop the suspension when we've actually jacked the body up. So normally you get your little side jack which goes under here and winds the body up, and that will leave the wheel hanging on the suspension. Now we haven't got one of them here, so I've got to try and manufacture a way to get the body jacked up without actually compressing anything. Right, now because I haven't got the actual side jack that comes with the car, I've had to jack the car up using the little bracket there. See that little L bracket, U bracket I've put in there? That is a strong piece of metal that actually just wraps around this here, because that's where the jacking point is, and then I've jacked it up on that. And I've also added an axle stand with a block of wood underneath as well, just in case that the jack sinks, so you don't want to rely on just the jack. So this is where the jacking point is normally. You'd normally jack up using the side scissors jack there. I haven't got that, so I've had to improvise and overcome with this strong metal bracket. Now if I didn't put this strong metal bracket here, the jack would have gone up and buckled all of the actual seal underneath there, and it's very hard to jack up on that point. So that's the reason why I've put that metal bracket in there. So I can now take the wheel off, and the wheel is just hanging down on the suspension. Right, that's the rear wheel off now. Now you can see what I've also done there. I've also stuck the wheel under the side of the car as well, just in case something did fail. Now if you haven't got a hydraulic jack or an axle stand like I have, stick a wheel under, and that will just give you an extra safeguard over the normal jack that comes with the car. Right, so here we are underneath the car now, and as you can see, this is the spring. This is the shock absorber bolt, which we've got to undo here, because once I undo that, then we can pull the pin out, and this arm will lower down, and we'll then be able to bring the spring out. Right, here we go. Now to undo this bolt here, you need one of these E14, and if you look at it, it's one of those sort of star shaped sockets that fits on there, so that's what you're going to need for that. So that goes on there obviously. Now I'm just going to spray a bit of lubrication on the back of the threads and let that do its magic, and then we're going to undo this. There we go. Right, now I should be able to wind that out by hand now. As you can see, it comes out after the first. It might be a bit tight at the first of all, because it's all that rusty rubbish at the start of the bolt, so don't worry about that. Now as you can see now, our shock is now loose. Now I'm just going to let that jack down, and you'll see the suspension arm drop. There we go, see it dropping, and the spring tension's coming off the spring now, and that's just literally the suspension arm dropping. Still dropping, and it's right down nearly now, even to the extent where I can probably just take the jack out. There we go, I've moved the jack right out of the way now, look, and I can just lever that down. Look, can you see that spring, how loose that spring is now? Now hopefully if I just lever down and bring out, and there you go, and the actual broken part of the spring has disappeared. This is where it's broke. Let's get it out now and we'll show you that compared to the other one. Right, well as you can see there, the top part of this coil is actually broke off and it's gone, so we've lost that totally. So what you also want to make sure of when you actually buy your springs is your car may have been adjusted or altered so that the suspension has got a modified suspension spring where it might be lowered or whatever, so it's probably advisable to buy your springs in pairs so that you definitely know that your springs match up. We did all the 2 sets of springs, but only 1 set's come, so we're just going to concentrate on doing this one for now. So anyway, let's get this new spring back in. Right, so here we are, and we're going to try and get this spring back in here. Probably easier said than done, because we're going to have to really pull that down and get that spring in. As you can see, it's quite a difference in size, this spring, so this could be the tricky bit. What probably is going to be a good idea is, because I'm struggling to get that in at the moment, and the reason why that might be is because of the handbrake cable. So I'm just going to release the handbrake cable, and that should give me a bit more sway, but make sure the car doesn't roll back. Right, so I've just released that handbrake cable there now. Now, as you can see, I've got this lever stuck in here. What would be handy is if you had someone to push their foot down on that, and then just one person concentrating on getting the spring in. I'm having to do both at the moment. I'm pushing down on that and trying to get the spring in at the same time, so I'm struggling a little bit, and you may do the same. As I say, I'm sure if we had someone's foot on there, it would go in a lot easier, but I haven't got that. It's just me. Nearly there, look. Nearly there. One more push down and in. Hopefully that'll be it. It's a tricky little number. Right. I've stuck a lever in there. I've tried to lever down. You just cannot get that last final push. So I've had to call Sharon outside to put her foot on the brake hub here and push that down, and hopefully that will give me the push pressure to put it in. Go on in, Sharon, push down on that. Keep going, keep going. Push down. Push down on that bit, look. Push down. A bit more. Oh, look, wait there. A bit more. That's it in, let go. There you go.
Can't do nothing about me, can you?
There you go. Right, now you can see I was struggling on my own doing that, and you'd probably have the same, so get someone else with you to give you a hand. Push down on the actual brake. Don't forget the handbrake's off now, because that also, the tight cable will stop you from pushing it on as well. Get them to push down on that, but also, as I say, make sure the car is jacked up properly in the first place. Push down on that, and then you can see that it actually pushed in place. Now the reason why that is because the whole rear bar there is basically twisting. Now if we lowered the other end, if we was doing both of these at the same time, if I actually lowered that other shock down there, and you'd find that you'd probably drop this down and you'll get both springs in. But seeing as we're only doing one and you might only be doing one, this is the problem you could come up against. So that's what I suggest you do. Get someone to push down on that rather than try and struggle along yourself and get that spring in. Right, so all we've got to do now is to get this shock back in place. And I'm going to do that by getting the bottle jack underneath. And this time I'm going to stick the lever in here. And just to give me a hand to lift it up while I get the jack underneath. And then we'll push this jack up, and that will get the rear shock reconnected. Make sure that's in there. As you can see, I'm edging this up now. Just making sure it's pulling up in between. Our suspension. Put a bit of lube on your bolt just to make sure that we get a good going in, alright. You could use copper slip or something like that. There we go. Just get a start in there. Right, make sure we're tight. Drop down your bottle jack like that. Push that down there. As you can see there, it's seated nicely. Everything's fitted correctly. Our shock is reconnected, and all we've got to do now is put on the road wheel. it, job done. Let me show you. There's our new spring, which is all under tension now. Seated lovely. Shock's gone back in where it's supposed to have been. Happy days. So as you can see, we struggled a little bit on our own trying to get that arm pushed down. Once we had someone there to give us a hand, that extra little push, we was able to get the spring in. Anyway, hope that was helpful to you. It's probably the same on a few other cars as well. This is a front wheel drive car. A lot of rear wheel drive cars are the same, especially Vauxhall. So thanks very much, and see you again in the next video. Bye for now.